Important message. If you're over 60, your brain is more vulnerable than ever before to memory decline, brain fog, and even neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. The good news is that what you eat can either accelerate or prevent this, especially the vegetables you choose. The right vegetables can dramatically improve brain health, and it's something people in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia are waking up to more than ever before. After 60, your body starts changing in ways that most doctors in the United States never fully explain. Cognitive decline doesn't start all at once. It's gradual and it's silent. One day you just forget a name. Another day, you misplace your phone and swear it was in your hand 5 seconds. Ego. These aren't just senior moments. They're warning signs. And one of the most overlooked reasons for this decline is chronic inflammation in the brain, poor blood flow to brain cells, and nutrient deficiencies that get worse with age. Now, what's critical to understand is that certain vegetables, when eaten consistently and in the right way, can feed your brain, repair cell damage, increase neuroplasticity, and even support the growth of new neurons. This isn't theory. This is backed by clinical data and real-life cases in the United States and beyond. Let's start with leafy greens, particularly kale, spinach, and collard greens. In a study conducted at Rush University Medical Center in Chicago, seniors who consumed just one serving of leafy greens per day had brains that functioned like people 11 years younger. That's not a typo, 11 years younger. These vegetables are loaded with vitamin K, lutein, folate, and beta-carotene. All of these nutrients have been shown to slow cognitive decline. But in the United States, many adults over 60 don't even get close to the daily recommended intake of these key nutrients. Folate deficiencies, for instance, are directly linked to depression, forgetfulness, and slowed reasoning. Vitamin K, which is abundant in kale and spinach, helps form sphingolipids, essential fats that make up brain cell membranes. Without enough, brain signals slow down, thinking becomes fuzzy, and memory suffers. Another powerhouse is broccoli, especially steamed broccoli. It contains sulforaphane, which boosts the production of glutathione, one of the most powerful antioxidants in the human brain. As you age, oxidative stress increases in the brain. This oxidative stress damages neurons and interferes with memory formation. In one NIH-funded study, sulforaphane was found to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress in elderly participants. Think about that. This is a vegetable you can find in every supermarket across the United States, but most people walk right past it. In some cases, doctors in Canada and Australia are now even recommending sulforaphane-rich foods for patients recovering from mild traumatic brain injuries and strokes. Let's talk about beets, because these are not just for color on your plate. Beets contain nitrates, which are converted into nitric oxide in the body. This compound relaxes and dilates blood vessels, dramatically improving blood flow to the brain. A study from Wake Forest University used MRI imaging to show that older adults who drank beet juice had significantly improved blood flow in the brain's frontal lobe, an area responsible for executive function, decision-making, and working memory. And yet, many people in the United Kingdom and Australia avoid beets because they don't like the taste, or they simply don't know how powerful this root vegetable really is. Roasted, juiced, steamed, or raw, beets should be a regular part of the diet for anyone over 60 who wants to keep their mind sharp. Then there are Brussels sprouts, which are part of the cruciferous family, like broccoli and cauliflower. They're rich in camphorol, a flavonoid that protects the brain from oxidative damage. They also contain alpha-lipoic acid, which studies in the United States have linked to slower progression of Alzheimer's disease. Seniors who include Brussels sprouts in their diet regularly report less brain fog, better focus, and improved mood. People across Canada and the UK often overlook these because they're seen as bland or difficult to cook. But when seasoned, right? They're not just delicious, they're brain-saving. Another vegetable that's shockingly effective is red cabbage. Unlike green cabbage, red cabbage is loaded with anthocyanins, the same brain-protective antioxidants found in blueberries. These compounds cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce inflammation in brain tissues. In the United States, researchers have seen that anthocyanins from red cabbage can reduce beta-amyloid plaque formation, one of the key factors in Alzheimer's disease. This is not speculative. It's happening in labs and hospitals. And yet, so many older Americans and Canadians still don't eat red cabbage because they don't associate it with brain health. That needs to change, and we can't ignore the impact of carrots and sweet potatoes, which are high in beta-carotene. This compound converts into vitamin A, which is crucial for brain plasticity and memory. In a study out of Harvard, older adults with higher levels of beta-carotene in their blood had better verbal memory and slower rates of mental decline. This isn't surprising when you consider how vitamin A supports the health of brain cell membranes. In the United Kingdom, people over 60 who include carrots and sweet potatoes at least 4 times a week report better short-term memory retention than those who don't. Then there's asparagus, a vegetable often overlooked in the United States. Despite being a natural source of prebiotic fiber and folate, prebiotic fiber feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. And what many Americans don't know is that the gut and brain are directly connected through the vagus nerve. A healthy gut means a healthier brain. Seniors who improve their gut microbiome often report improvements in mood, clearer thinking, and even reduced symptoms of anxiety. Asparagus helps nourish those brain-supporting bacteria while also delivering folate, which reduces homocysteine, a harmful compound that increases the risk of dementia. Cauliflower may not look like much, but it's a powerful vegetable when it comes to brain support. It contains choline, a nutrient that helps with the production of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter involved in memory and mood. Older adults in the United States often fall short in choline intake because most don't eat enough vegetables that contain it. When choline is low, memory formation suffers, mood swings become more common, and focus declines. In one observational study, higher dietary intake of choline was associated with improved cognitive performance in adults over 60. Even zucchini, often dismissed as a bland filler vegetable, contains lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoids that accumulate in the brain and protect against cognitive decline. In Canada, studies have shown that seniors with higher levels of these carotenoids in their diet have significantly reduced risk of age-related brain shrinkage. And brain shrinkage is one of the key physical changes seen in Alzheimer's disease. Zucchini is also hydrating, easy to digest, and versatile in cooking, which makes it a great choice for older adults whose digestion may be slowing down. Green peas deserve attention as well. Rich in B vitamins, especially B1, thiamine, green peas support the nervous system and help maintain healthy brain function. Thiamine deficiency is shockingly common among older adults in the United States, particularly those who take certain medications that deplete B vitamins. Symptoms of low thiamine include irritability, memory loss, and poor concentration. Adding a cup of green peas to your diet several times a week can help replenish this critical nutrient and support the brain's energy metabolism. Many older adults in the United States unknowingly cancel out the brain-boosting benefits of vegetables by cooking them the wrong way. Overboiling cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower can strip them of vital nutrients like vitamin C, folate, and sulforaphane. These are compounds that directly reduce oxidative stress in the brain and are crucial for keeping your neurons functioning efficiently. Steaming is the best method for preserving these nutrients, and research from the United Kingdom and Canada confirms that gentle cooking methods like steaming or roasting preserve the antioxidants far better than boiling. And in Australia, health professionals often teach patients recovering from stroke or brain injury to steam vegetables lightly to retain their neuroprotective properties. Overcooking turns a superfood into an empty filler. Another mistake is storing vegetables improperly. Most Americans over 60 store their vegetables in plastic bags, forgetting that ethylene gas builds up in these containers and speeds up nutrient loss. Leafy greens like spinach and kale start losing folate and vitamin K within just a few days, if not stored in a breathable container. In fact, studies in Canada have shown that nutrient levels can drop by more than 50% within a week of improper storage. Think about that. Half of the brain-boosting power of those vegetables gone, just because of poor storage. Using paper towels to absorb moisture and perforated bags for airflow can double the shelf life of these foods and help keep their cognitive benefits intact. Now, while we're focusing on individual vegetables, we also need to talk about combinations. Certain vegetables, when eaten together, improve nutrient absorption and effectiveness. For example, pairing carrots or sweet potatoes, both high in beta-carotene, with a healthy fat like olive oil, increases the body's ability to absorb vitamin A up to 10 times more. This is critical for maintaining brain plasticity and preventing age-related mental decline. In the United States, where fat phobia has lingered for decades, many seniors avoid healthy oils, unknowingly sabotaging their brain health. The same goes for spinach and kale, which need to be eaten with a small amount of fat to absorb their vitamin K efficiently. One of the most brain-protective meals for someone over 60 would be a large salad made with spinach, red cabbage, shredded carrots, roasted beets, and steamed broccoli, topped with a handful of walnuts, and drizzled with extra virgin olive oil. Every component in that meal supports brain health through antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, and nutrients like folate, vitamin K, choline, and nitrates. People in Australia and Canada are increasingly adopting these types of meals after being diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment because they actually feel a difference. One patient from British Columbia reported going from daily brain fog and forgetfulness to sharper thinking in just 3 weeks of consistent dietary change. There's also the emotional and psychological aspect of eating these brain-supportive vegetables. Many older adults, particularly in the United States, suffer from isolation, loneliness, and depression, all of which are linked to cognitive decline. What's less known is how the gut-brain axis plays into this. Vegetables like asparagus, onions, leeks, and Jerusalem artichokes are rich in prebiotic fibers that help support the gut microbiome. And when the gut is healthy, it sends signals to the brain that promote serotonin production, mood stability, and sharper thinking. A study published by the NIH found that older adults with diverse gut bacteria scored higher on cognitive tests than those with low bacterial diversity. That's directly tied to diet, especially vegetable intake. Yet the typical American diet still lacks these essential prebiotics. And it's not just about memory, it's about executive function, which includes planning, attention, and decision-making. This declines with age, especially if the brain isn't getting enough blood flow and antioxidants. Vegetables like beets, kale, and Brussels sprouts stimulate cerebral blood flow and provide high levels of polyphenols, which protect neurons and reduce inflammation in the brain's cortex. In one study conducted in the United States, people over 65 who consumed high polyphenol vegetables had slower rates of hippocampal atrophy, the part of the brain responsible for memory formation. Compare that to those who consumed a Western-style diet high in refined grains, processed meats, and low vegetable intake, and the results are stark. Shrinking brain volume, poor focus, and increased risk of dementia. It's also critical to note the role of fiber in vegetables for detoxification. The brain is incredibly sensitive to toxins like mercury, heavy metals, and pesticides, all of which accumulate in the body over time. Vegetables such as artichokes, okra, and green beans help bind to and remove these toxins through the digestive tract. This detoxification indirectly supports cognitive clarity and focus, especially in people over 60 who are more vulnerable to environmental toxins due to reduced liver function and slower metabolism. In the United Kingdom, clinics are now screening older patients for metal toxicity and using vegetable-based detox diets as part of cognitive health recovery. And yet, none of this matters if seniors don't have access or the right mindset to consistently eat these vegetables. In lower-income communities in the United States, access to fresh vegetables is still limited, especially for older adults living alone or on fixed incomes. Food deserts across cities like Detroit, Baltimore, and rural areas in Texas make it almost impossible for seniors to get the vegetables they need unless they have support or reliable transportation. That's why community programs and mobile farmers markets in states like California and New York have been critical in reversing early-stage cognitive issues by delivering fresh, brain-supportive produce right to senior centers. But there's still a long way to go. Social attitudes also need to change. In the United States, many older men in particular grew up with meals centered around meat and potatoes, and vegetables were seen as a side dish. That mentality is now hurting their brains. Real change happens when people realize that vegetables aren't optional. They are the most essential part of a diet designed to protect memory, reduce inflammation, and support longevity of brain function. More health professionals in Canada and the United Kingdom are starting to include vegetable-based interventions in their cognitive therapy plans, encouraging patients to track their veggie intake like they would track medications or blood pressure levels. And this isn't just about Alzheimer's. Even people without a formal diagnosis can experience everyday cognitive fatigue, difficulty focusing, remembering appointments, or finishing tasks. These problems often stem from chronic nutrient deficiencies and low-grade inflammation in the brain. Vegetables can help reverse that. People who start their day with a vegetable-rich omelet made with spinach, mushrooms, onions, and tomatoes report better energy, mental sharpness, and mood throughout the day. Compare that to a breakfast of white toast and cereal, and the difference in cognitive function can be immediate. But the change only happens if it's consistent. One serving of vegetables now and then won't protect your brain. The transformation comes from eating a variety of these brain-supportive vegetables every single day. It's about building a plate that feeds your neurons, stabilizes your mood, sharpens your memory, and sustains your mental health. Vegetables aren't just food for the body, they are medicine for the mind. In every part of the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, the message is becoming clearer. If you want to keep your brain, you need to feed it right, and the best place to start is on your plate.